Walk-off grand slams, college football upsets, and Hail Marys. Welcome to October. We have so much to talk about in today's episode of The Extra Point, and it starts right now. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Extra Point. As always, I'm your host, Griffin Barfield. Once again, we have a full panel. We have 5 panelists ready to talk about all the types of sports going on in the world today, because it's October. It's one of the best times to be a sports fan, and we have so much to unpack. So why don't we get started by introducing the panel, going from left to right. Jordan York, Mara Kane, Kane Fox, Toby Corsten, and Caden Hughes, the usual suspects. They've been here before. They know the drill. They know the rules. Let's get right into it. Why not get started with one of the best plays that I've seen in the NFL in the last few years? And that was this Hail Mary. Washington Commanders, they were down by 3 at midfield. Jaden Daniels throws up a heave, hits Noah Brown off a tipped pass, and the Redskins. The Commanders win 18-15. They move to 6-2. It was a battle between the number 1 overall pick in Caleb Williams and the number 2 overall pick in Jaden Daniels, and Daniels got away with the win in front of his Washington crowd. I mean, there was a lot to unpack from this. You had the Tyreek Stevenson thing going on where he was taunting the fans, and he eventually was the one that tipped the ball to Noah Brown, but I'm going to digress here. It's a hashtag game. What is your hashtag to this thing that happened? Who wants to start?
All right, we're going to start this off with a banger. How about Holy Hail for like 9 different reasons. Number 1, this game should not have been this close. The Bears played teams that were a combined 6-20. The Commanders have one of the most potent offenses in the NFL. This should have been a rout, but they couldn't finish drives. It was really, really embarrassing. They could move the ball past midfield into field goal range, and then they couldn't move the ball in the red zone. And that was that one run from DeAndre Swift of like 60-something yards got them right back in the game. Then they had the rushing touchdown to give them the lead. And then the Hail Mary. And first of all, Jaden Daniels playing this game with injured ribs. Like, I don't know how he played this game because he got rocked quite a few different times. I thought he was going to end up in the locker room before the game was over. But that heave was just amazing. That was like, I think they said it was like 65 yards through the air. It was like the 3rd longest air distance pass since 2016. He escaped the rushers for like 12 seconds before throwing it. I mean, statistically, it's just one of the most impressive Hail Marys of all time. So, I mean, Hail Commanders for the win, and that was just a heck of a play to end what was really a surprisingly good game.
I didn't have a good word, but I said hashtag comp because I also didn't think the game was going to be that close. I mean, the Hail Mary at the end, Jaden Daniels is a dog for that. I mean, he's a rookie, so I think that if the Commanders keep making those plays, they're going to be really tough competition for the NFC North. But then again, the game was so close that maybe, I don't know. I think that when they go up against other teams in the NFC North that are debatably better than the Bears, they might have more competition, and it might be tough for them. So
I've got classic Bears. I mean, you walk into a game, you play horribly in the first half. The Commanders' defense, which had been statistically one of the worst so far out through the league, shuts down the number 1 pick passing. They're down 9-0. And then, you know what, at halftime, there's a good speech in the locker room from Matt Eberflus, and then they storm back, they take the lead, and they've got, 3 seconds left. They contain the Hail Mary for 12 seconds, and then they throw it, they tip the ball, and it's caught for a touchdown. I don't think it gets any more Chicago than that. And, I mean, you're right, it's a good game, but it was never one the Bears were going to win.
Yeah, I said bite me, because that is the first thing that I heard from my roommate who is a Bears fan. I saw it happen. I was on campus when it happened. I saw the Hail Mary happen. I was like, no way. And I immediately open up Snapchat to text my buddy. And I start typing. And you know how you get that message notification when you're on Snapchat that somebody's typing? He opened that immediately and goes, bite me, before I could even say anything. It was awesome. It was one of the greatest moments. But talk about 12 seconds. They didn't contain the quarterback for 12 seconds. They let him have 12 seconds in the pocket. I do not understand why teams rush 3 guys in these Hail Mary situations. Putting 9 guys in the end zone versus 7 doesn't make a difference, but putting 3 guys versus 5 guys on the defensive line does make a difference. With 5 guys, you're not giving any quarterback nearly 13 seconds of time in the pocket to find room to throw that ball. Put some pressure on the quarterback. Defensive coordinators, find a way to put some pressure on the quarterback. It's not going to make a difference if you properly scheme up how to defend a Hail Mary. And even with 9 guys, the Bears did not properly scheme that up.
Speaking of poor defense, I went with hashtag RIP Tyreek, because I think this is going to come up within this play will come up within the first 2 paragraphs of his obituary. I think he'll always be remembered for this play. Because I know y'all saw it, he was taunting the other team, or fans and stuff, the Commanders fans, on the sideline. And then he saw the play was going on, he turned around, he ran over. I think he was a split second too late, and he volleyball tipped it. I mean, a better set than I've seen from our women's team all year. Like a perfect set right to Noah Brown in the end zone. It just laid right into his lap. And it was a perfect, easy touchdown for the win. Odds put here, man, I think of all the, big plays, hero moments you can make in any professional sport, I think the most I could do that play is like a already tipped Hail Mary that just lands in your lap. I think it's always cool. The average person can do that. And then I didn't have the stat wrote down, but I saw somewhere that it's the first time 2, lead-changing touchdowns were scored in the last 30 seconds since, 1970 in the NFL. So that was pretty cool.
It's pretty cool. I don't know if I can associate with you after those volleyball comments anymore, but yeah, fair enough.
I think it was just crazy. You got to give credit to Chicago for hanging in this game because they never should have. But their defense played really, really well, held a potent Commanders offense to, by the time it was all said and done, 18 points. I mean, that's, considering the numbers we had been seeing from the Commanders, that's a big deal. And when you're looking at a team that, yes, they hadn't played anybody really good to this point, the first time they do, they get beat on the final play of the game. That kind of gives you some optimism going into the division slate and the tougher games you're going to have to close out this season in a division of the NFC North where genuinely all 4 teams could see the playoffs.
Yeah, and real quick, you said earlier, obviously Jaden Daniels was hurt, and I feel like you could chalk it up as Jaden Daniels was hurt and they scored 18. He didn't play hurt. The Commanders played the normal way and stuff, and the Bears just outplayed them on that side of the ball for most of the game until the very end. You disagree?
We'll get to this more when we talk about the Bears-Cardinals matchup, but for now, just what a play.
Okay.
Well, we're not done talking about this right now. I do have a question for you guys. I was talking to Jordan with this before the show. The Bears are currently the last team out of the wild card if the playoffs were to end today. They do have a tough schedule. They do have to play Detroit twice. I believe they did play Minnesota twice. I don't think they've played any of their division games. So with that being said, when you look at this team in about 10 weeks from now, and they're on the outside looking into the playoffs, was this the one game, let's say they're a game out, will this be the main game that they lose to kind of miss out on the playoffs? Do you guys think that is the case, or do you think the Bears are only going to go down here?
They're not on the outside looking in. They're on the other side of the Atlantic Ocean looking in. They will be nowhere close to playoff contention after this year, or after these next 10 games that they have. They had a good start to the year, but they just didn't beat anybody. They beat the bad teams. They had the bad teams to play early in their schedule. Looked like they might show some hope, and I think this game proves that they will not be able to hang with any of the big dogs.
I think when you're just talking about what we have been talking about before the show, it comes down to the fact that Caleb Williams has not been the prodigal son everyone thought he was going to be. The Bears' offense is awful. The only thing they really have going for them is DeAndre Swift, and he worked against a really bad run defense. That's why he had 127 yards. I just feel like the Bears, like you said, they're going to be so far out of it. It's not going to be one game that makes a difference. It's going to be 6.
You guys are Bears haters.
Yeah, I was about
listen, hold up. Let me just
yeah.
They have an easy schedule. They beat their easy teams. Why are you hating on them?
Because in those easy games, they are 27th in the league in passing yards, 19th in rushing yards, and 26th in total yards per game.
You're taking
and you're spending the Bears were expected. The Bears, you look at that offense and you're like, this offense is explosive. They're going to do great things. They're spending, $38 million on their wide receivers. They have some of the best wide receivers in the league, and they're doing nothing with them. It's embarrassing.
That's more Shane Waldron than Caleb Williams.
Hey, so
Watch
far,
the line. Watching
so
the
it
games
is
pretty
Shane
bad.
Waldron.
I think
But it doesn't mean
Shane
it's gonna get
Waldron
better.
is ruining a good quarterback's development. I don't think just Caleb Williams is not like a good
So then don't tell me the Bears are going to be good in 10
I'm
weeks.
I'm not
Right.
saying that.
Here's the deal. It's not that Caleb Williams sucks or anything like that. He's got talent around him. Granted, not young talent, experienced talent,
defense is
talent,
okay.
talent on the downhill side of their career. But when you look at the Bears, they are a team that is nowhere near built to win now. When you have a rookie quarterback, you're not trying to go win a Super Bowl. You're barely trying to see the playoffs if you can get there, unless you're on a championship contender. When you're talking about the Bears, give them at least 3 years before they even get close.
Oh, for sure. I'm thinking this is at most a 7 to 9 win season from them.
Right.
Well, they play the Packers, Vikings, and Lions 3 consecutive weeks. So
According to the betting markets, they got the hardest remaining schedule.
Yeah.
In the season.
Did they play the Lions on Thanksgiving?
I think so, yeah. They play a division rival.
They
on
might not win
28th,
another
yeah.
game. That,
just-
like, it's
well, they need
they
to just-
will, but it's entirely possible that
They're,
need to just-
they're-
They do have the
they're gonna
Patriots
beat
in
the
2 weeks.
Patriots.
They're-
They need to get playoffs out
Patriots
of their
could beat
head.
them.
I mean,
Their
That's
defense
a-
is stingy.
that's a-
They got
On a
Patriots
com-
defense.
I
is better
mean,
than the
All
Bears
the
offense.
Patriots have to do is put up 14
But
points.
to answer whoever's question, if the Bears and the Lions are playing on Thanksgiving, yes, they are.
I think that could be a win.
The
I'm-
Patriots defense is better than the Bears
That's the
offense.
only time I could see them beating the Lions, actually.
Exactly.
But they'll be 6-10 or 6-11.
6 and 11, yeah.
By the time
They're not going to be anywhere close.
We'll be talking about the Bears a little bit later too, but we're gonna move on. Let's move on to playoff baseball, one of the best playoff sports in the world, honestly. And let's start with the World Series. Obviously, Yankees, Dodgers, East Coast, West Coast. We took to Los Angeles. Game 1, I think it was written out of a storybook. You had a Giancarlo Stanton 2-run home run, went into extra innings, and then Freddie Freeman capped it off with a grand slam down 1. And the Dodgers took away Game 1. They took away Game 2 a little bit more decisively. The game was very, very close. The Yankees did have the bases loaded in the final inning. And now it's 2-1 Dodgers. The Yankees play tonight in New York. So I know that'll be a little bit exciting. But what is your guys' hashtag to how this series has truly gone on so far, especially with that grand slam home run, with it being the first walk-off grand slam in MLB history?
I'll start. I told you so. If you go back to last week's episode, I was the only person who put Dodgers. I said Dodgers in 6. Toby yelled at me for 4 minutes straight.
Yelled is a stretch.
And and then if you come back at me and say, oh, Tani's hurt, he slightly dislocated his shoulder and he's playing in Game 3. So, yeah.
I wouldn't put that in air quotes. He did dislocate his
I'll
shoulder.
I'll flip
Slightly
mine
with air
over.
quotes.
My bad. I didn't yell. I may have attempted to disprove somebody's point about the Dodgers in 6. I did think the Yankees would have control over this series, but I quickly learned that the Dodgers have more moments in them. The Yankees need to win games by 3, 4, 5, 6 runs, and they haven't done that yet. Because the Dodgers, they got guys like Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, Shohei Ohtani. Shoot, even Kike Hernandez, bottom of the order legend. They are built for moments. And when you're in a close game in the postseason, moments win you the game. The Dodgers had that twinkle in their eye in Game 1. They had James Earl Jones narrating the game for them. Moneyball was playing in the background as Freddie Freeman stepped up to the plate in the bottom of the 10th. That is the Dodgers type of baseball, and the Yankees type of baseball is, hey, we're just going to go out there and beat you, and they haven't done that yet.
I feel like you stole exactly what I was going to say because my hashtag is made for the moment. If you didn't already know this Dodgers team was ready for the big stage, you knew it in the 10th inning when you watched the game on Saturday night. Or Friday night, I think it was. Because Freddie Freeman, for one in his career, he averages 750 or 675 when he's got bases loaded. Why the heck would you? I understand there's 2 outs, and if you do the bases loaded thing, any ground out is an immediate out, and then Yankees win the game. But why on earth would you intentionally walk it to where the guy who's basically automatic against bases loaded has a chance to go win the game? I would have pitched to Mookie.
I would have never pitched to Mookie. Second and third, 2 outs, you give yourself the force out. Every time. I don't care who's coming up to the plate.
You don't?
I don't care.
You don't care.
It could be Barry Bonds. I am walking whoever it is, because baseball, it is so hard to hit a baseball. Hitting a baseball is the hardest thing to do in all of sports. No matter how clutch the guy is, I know he's got incredible numbers, bases loaded. He's still got to hit a baseball that's moving nearly 100 miles an hour. And I'm going to give my guys the best opportunity because, hey, a little weak dribbler to the 5-hole is going to win you the game versus a little weak dribbler to the 5-hole wins you the game if you don't put the guy on. So that's where I see it, is that just as a manager, you have to walk the guy.
I get that, but if you just watch Game 1 as a whole, you just felt like that game was a movie. Like I said before the series started, we were going to be watching 7 movies, and Game 1 was exactly how a script of a movie would go. You've got the Dodgers take the early lead, the Yankees come back, the Yankees have the lead, and the home team with the kid that everybody likes has to come up and go win the game, and does it on the first freaking pitch. It wasn't even like it was a 3-2 count or anything like that. On the first pitch he saw, he said, ball game, we're up 1-0. And I feel like that's just for a guy who was on the Braves when they won the World Series, I'm pretty sure.
He was.
And has been consistently great. You talk about made for the moment, the Dodgers are made to win now. This series, if the Yankees don't win Game 3, it's over. But I think even if they do, it's over. It's just delayed the inevitable. The Dodgers are built to win now.
You said made for the moment. I want to talk about someone who's not made for the moment. Mine is hashtag Judge strikes again and again and again, all the way to 19 strikeouts this postseason. The biggest postseason bust in this era of baseball is back, and he's worse than ever. He's batting 150. I'm gonna get yelled at now. He's batting 150. He's with a 34% strikeout rate, so he's more than twice more likely to strike out than to get a hit. He said after the second game, guys around me are doing their job getting on base, and I'm failing them, not backing them up. He should be on this panel because I couldn't have said it better myself, man. He's doing horrible. He's failing his team. He's failing his fans and his city. He's supposed to be the next hero in a long list of Yankees greats, and he's failing to do that and letting everyone down. So, yeah, and he's the reason they're there, but he's the reason they're going to lose this series.
It is magnified by the fact, and I know Kane still has his hashtag, so we'll get to that in a minute, but it is magnified by the fact that Giancarlo Stanton is playing at the level that he is, and the Yankees still aren't able to get it done because Aaron Judge is playing the way he is. With the way Giancarlo Stanton and Juan Soto have played on opposite sides of him, Aaron Judge should be like the money ball guy right now. I mean, there should be run after run after run after run, and instead it's back to the dugout after back to the dugout after back to the dugout. And in games where it's a 1-run game, a 2-run game like the World Series has been, you're not going to win those because those plays make the difference.
I agree. He has not come through. However, that's baseball. You go through slumps. I go back to my point. Hitting a baseball is the hardest thing to do. The greatest hitters in the world are sometimes go through these stretches where they are bad. And unfortunately, that's right now for him. But let's look at Mookie Betts on the other side of the ball. You know what the entire narrative coming into this postseason was? Mookie Betts can't hit a ball in the postseason. He was like 1 for 39 or something. Something unbelievable. He gets robbed of a home run against the Padres, and then he nearly gets robbed of another. It goes over the fence, and now look at him. Nobody said a word about him because he's found his rhythm. Aaron Judge is going to find that one hit in the next 2 games that is going to get him back on his rhythm, and we're not going to say another word about him.
Ken, what you got?
You know what he did? Oh, my bad. You got it.
Yeah, it's fine. I've watched these last 2 games, and I have pitchers of lemonade in my fridge that have performed better than whoever the Yankees have been throwing out there in the big moments. And, I mean, if the Dodgers go and they win Game 3, I'll take it. I'll say my bad as well because I picked the Yankees in 6. But if the Dodgers go and win this game, I'm looking ahead to next season. I'm saying go Phillies.
Ooh, 4th time's a charm.
Real quick, you said Aaron Judge he's going through a slump. In these last 2 World Series games, it's brought his career postseason batting average below 200.
Yeah,
so he seems to go through slumps.
That's a slump.
Every October.
If he could go 7 for 12 in the next 4 games and be just fine. Then his career postseason average bumps up to like 280 and nobody says another word.
It'd be like 5 bad postseason performances in like one good one.
That's okay. That happens. They haven't been. If he comes through in this World Series and the Yankees make a comeback and they force a Game 7 and he has
His legacy changes
it's
forever.
Absolutely.
I'll agree with you on that. Yeah, sure.
It takes
I just don't think
takes
that's gonna
one
happen.
swing of the bat.
For sure, but I don't think he's making that swing. I think the ball is going to be in the catcher's glove after he makes that swing.
Have you guys ever realized that every time we have like a statement, it's always directed at Toby because we know that he's gonna like come back and yell at us?
Yeah.
Like it's always like
Yell is
advocate.
Yell is harsh.
Okay,
He's
we'll
a
come
good
back and
debater.
debate us.
Wouldn't it be boring if I just said, yeah, I agree every time?
Right, right.
Yeah, but
It creates
it's like funny
entertainment.
how it's always like, it's always you.
I
Here, I'll-
beg to
I'll-
differ.
You're right.
I
Wait,
beg
don't
to
you go
differ.
in
I'll
when you're
attack your next
talking?
point, Mara. Next time you say something, I'll be like, next time I agree, I'm going to be right there.
All right, all right.
Hey, we're getting to your favorite team right after this.
Yeah, we'll move on to
Allen
that.
for Heisman.
But trust me, if I was on that panel, I'd be just like Toby, just fighting for your view. But I completely agree. I think that it just only takes one swing of the bat. I think we haven't really talked about, guys on the Dodgers. Freddie Freeman did not hit well in the NLCS. Teoscar Hernandez, I believe, only had one hit in the NLCS. And there they go, having back-to-back home runs in Game 2. Freddie Freeman with 2 home runs in the World Series. So like Toby said, it only takes one swing of the bat, and you're doing it in your home stadium, at Yankee Stadium. We haven't seen a game in quite a few weeks. I believe it has been 2 weeks since they've had a game in Yankee Stadium, and couldn't get more better than this. We'll move on very, very quickly to Mara's favorite team, so I'll let her take the floor with this. Big noon kickoff, and it is a top 4 matchup between Ohio State and Penn State. 4 versus 3. Ohio State looking to give Penn State their first loss of the year and keep their Big Ten championships alive. Well, Penn State have the opportunity to take Ohio State out of the whole Big Ten championship as a whole and go on and take Oregon or Indiana or whoever it may be and have their playoff hopes sealed. Now, I'll let Mara take the floor with this. Drew Aller, questionable. It is Monday, so we'll find that out a little bit more as the week goes on. It's Ohio State. It's Penn State. At Happy Valley, who takes it?
I don't even want to pick, but since I have to, my only thing is that I have Ohio State. And is it in Beaver Stadium? Yes. That's my big issue with picking Ohio State because Penn State's just like the atmosphere of the stadium, like it's unmatched, unfortunately. But like Griffin said, Drew Aller, we don't even know if he's playing yet, and their backup quarterback, how do you say his last name? Begins with a P. I don't know. Anyway, he had a really good game against Wisconsin, but his first play was an interception, and I don't know. I hate Penn State. Everyone knows that. I think James Franklin's cursed. I hope they're gonna lose. That might come back to bite me later, but yeah.
Okay, so first off, I'll go ahead and say it right now. Drew Aller's going to play if his heart is beating. This is a game where you're starting quarterback for a top 3 unbeaten team. You're going to play if you have any ability to whatsoever. However, that doesn't matter. It's Halloween weekend. It's Happy Valley. And the scariest thing for Penn State is the James Franklin curse finally shows up because there is no way on God's green earth that Penn State wins this football game. Ohio State outmatches them at every position. Quarterback, not even close. Statistically, I know Drew Aller's great. Drew
Aller might be a top 5 quarterback.
Yes, that is a true statement. However, when you look at the skill positions, Quinshon Judkins and Travion Henderson completely outmatched Penn State's Nicholas Singleton. When you look at the receivers, Jeremiah Smith, Emeka Egbuka, Carnell Tate versus, that's right, Julian Fleming, right.
Ohio State transfer.
Had to think about it, and it's an Ohio State transfer. There is not a way in heck that James Franklin and the Penn State Nittany Lions find a way to win this game. This is going to be Ohio State ugly, often. They could lose by 30.
Can I go? Because I picked Penn State. You were listening, you said they win in every position group, and you stopped before you got to the trenches. I think that's where this game is going to be won. I think Penn State's defensive line. Ohio State's offensive line is underperformed this year. I think Penn State's defensive line is a lot better. And I think that Travion Henderson, you got to be able to block to find success in the run game. I think an inability to find success in the run game is going to lead to Ohio State losing. Yeah.
I feel like when you've got this matchup on the road, they are not going to establish the run early. What they're going to do is they're going to beat them through the air and then bury them on the ground because Will Howard he's the weapons they have is insane. Like, I don't know a defense besides Oregon, and they didn't really stop them. They just beat them offensively. I don't know that there's a defense that can stop the weapons Ohio State has. It is ridiculous. And I feel like Penn State is a good team. Don't get me wrong. They will probably find their way into the playoffs. But this is a game Penn State hasn't won in 7 years, and after Saturday, you can make it 8. Happy Halloween, Penn State.
I can go. I'll get this off my chest. I am a Michigan fan. I don't like either of these teams. I don't want either of them to win. But I hate Ohio State more. And normally I would begrudgingly say that Ohio State was going to win, but they don't look like the juggernaut that they usually are this year. And you say that they only lost to Oregon, and Oregon didn't stop them defensively. They just outscored them. Oregon is not a Big Ten defense. They are still Pac-12 at heart, and they allowed a lot of points, whatever. They played Nebraska. They scored 21. Penn State is much better than Nebraska is, and Penn State's got a way better run game than Nebraska does. And if you're averaging 7 yards a carry like they did last game, I think that Penn State can win.
So, let's talk about this. Drew Aller.
Top quarterback.
What is he?
He's a top 5
He's
quarterback.
a game manager.
He could arguably be a top 5 quarterback in college football right now. He is 6th in completion percentage in the entire NCAA. He is 4th in yards per pass attempt, and he has led this Penn State team to an undefeated season so far.
Is this just to spite me?
However,
Like, I think you say the same
one that
thing
got away.
every single time Penn
James
State comes up.
Franklin is 1-12 in games against top 5 opponents.
How's Ryan Day do against Tom?
And after this weekend,
It's Penn State.
you can make it 1-13. There is no way in any universe that Penn State wins this game. Not a chance in the world. Penn State
Flip that.
is not that good of a football team. I don't know if they'll even sneak into the playoffs. The moment they lose one, their season goes off the rails, completely off the rails. And Ohio State is arguably the most talented team in college football. Maybe not the best, but pure talent, they have more than any SEC team. The only team that could rival them in talent is Oregon. And we saw that matchup already. We saw the firepower. We saw the shootout. Penn State is nowhere close to that. Happy Valley is going to go silent in this first quarter when Ohio State rips off 2 60-yard bombs to start the game. Don't give me any doubts. I think Ohio State wins this by 30.
This is probably clear. I do want to say, Drew Aller, I think, is going to play like you said. I mean, James Franklin said that his injury was not a precautionary measure keeping him off the field. So he's trying to say he's pretty hurt. I think they're trying to psych Ohio State out. But if Aller doesn't play, Ohio State's going to win very, very easily.
No,
I just want to make that clear very fast.
Even if he does play, he's hurt, so he's not going to be playing.
Yeah, he'll be fine. What he hurt? His leg?
Adrenaline,
I
adrenaline is a wonderful thing, not that wonderful.
I hate to break it to you. I don't care if he was 150% and everyone on Ohio State had leg injuries coming into the game. I would still take Ohio State to win this game. I think Ohio State's backups would beat Penn State in a football game.
And the fact that it's a 12 o'clock game.
Yeah.
I think if you put Fresno State in Ohio State's uniforms and put them out there, they would win this game just
think
because
so.
of James Franklin.
I think so. It is more so, and also, since you've got a computer up, go ahead and Google something for me.
All right, bet.
Go ahead and Google the Penn State schedule and tell me if they've played an opponent
I already
tougher
had
than
that up.
Illinois.
I have that up. Yeah, no, they haven't. That's their biggest one. They're 1-0 against ranked opponents. Yeah.
And it's
1-0
Against Bowling Green?
So
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. That is
Everything but a Penn
that's
State
crazy
fan.
statement.
okay. So they're 1-0 against ranked opponents, right?
Heartbroken.
And
Yeah, exactly.
Illinois just lost to, I believe it was Oregon. Oh wait, it was because I watched that game, and it was 38-9. Anytime Illinois played a top contender, they got dog walked. We just saw that last Saturday. So if you want to use the phrase Penn State and top contender in the same sentence, you're going to be telling a fiction story little kids are going to want to read later.
1-12 sounds like they're due.
Not if it's James Franklin. Not if it's.
And-
I mean, Harbaugh did it.
And it's
Yeah, Ryan Day is not known for his second half wins against top 10 opponents.
all right. Here's the deal. Ryan Day sucks.
Ryan Day beats Penn State. Consistent.
Ryan Day beats Penn State,
do.
and it's not a whiteout. No chance for Penn State.
The 12 o'clock game is crazy, though.
That is brutal.
That's like.
It's actually,
That would change
the 12 o'clock time slot has produced some incredible. I'm not upset with the 12 o'clock time.
I
slot.
understand.
I think it's better for Ohio State that it's not under the
Yeah,
lights.
exactly.
I understand why, because Fox wanted that game.
Big noon Fox kickoff.
Right.
I think it could be an exciting game, if there's a group of people that want Penn State to win, it's going to be their home fans. And I think that you guys are forgetting that this game is in one of the best places to play in college football. I don't know about you guys. I've seen the Instagram reel of the Mo Bamba when Michigan's walking out a few years ago in whiteout. So it should be a fun game. It's going to be a good atmosphere, and I'm excited for that. But let's move to another controversial atmosphere, and that's Williams-Brice Stadium. Unranked South Carolina Gamecocks facing the Texas A&M Aggies coming off of their biggest win of the season against LSU, where they switched it up at quarterback, decided to run the ball down the throat, and that's what happened. So it's number 10 Texas A&M, South Carolina, who has another chance to knock off a ranked opponent at home. Are they able to do it this time?
No.
Okay. This is very simple. So last week, for anybody who watched the show, we had LSU and A&M, and I said that LSU was going to win. I was the only one who said LSU was going to win, but that's because I said it was
wrong.
Yeah, because I said it was going to come down to quarterback play, meaning Nussmeier versus Weigman. Well, A&M got smart. They benched Weigman, and when Marcel Reed came in the game flipped because A&M's rushing attack got even more dangerous. Marcel Reed took over that game for the Aggies, brought them the win in Kyle Field, a huge win because you're looking at the Aggies now. They're going to probably go all the way until they play Texas, and that game's going to be for a spot in the college football playoff. That game beating LSU set A&M on a trajectory that will make their season the best they've had in years, since Johnny football. So if you're trying to ask that South Carolina is going to beat Texas A&M just because they're playing in Williams-Brice Stadium, got news for you. Kyle Field had 30,000 more people. They're used to the noise. So A&M wins this because Marcel Reed is levels above Lenora Sanders.
Is that a B?
Or Sellers, I mean.
Do we know have they announced who's starting? Is it
tried to
Weigman
find
or
it.
Reed?
No,
They generally use a mixture of Reed and Wegman depending on the game script.
So I am going to go A&M as well, but I think you put Connor Weigman back in there. Because look, South Carolina has one of the best run defenses in the country. A&M found success against LSU because they could run it up the gut. You're not running it up the gut against USC's front four. You're not. You're simply not. But their corners, yeah, you're going to take advantage of them. And Weigman gives you the ability to throw the ball better. You can establish the run early. I know that Le'Veon is a very good running back, very talented. He's going to be able to pick up yards no matter what front four he's against. But you're not going to be able to beat them just by pounding it on the ground. You're going to have to throw the ball, and I think that's what they're going to do.
But to counter that, we don't necessarily know what Marcel Reed can do when he's throwing the football because he didn't need to do it.
That's true.
He might be, people were making joking comparisons, but he might be a Lamar Jackson. He could throw the football and run it. He's not actually. That's just what people were saying online.
Dude,
we don't know what the guy's
Exactly.
capable of.
We don't know. And I don't want to use this game to find out because you can beat USC with a bad Connor Weigman. I don't know if you can beat USC with a bad Marcel Reed because we don't know
really good
what
point.
bad Marcel Reed looks like, but we know what bad Connor Weigman looks like, and A&M knows that they can still beat USC.
But you don't have to have bad Marcel Reed because they have both of them. It's not like anyone's hurt anymore.
Yeah, exactly. But so I think that's where they're going to go to. I think it's going to be a Weigman game, and they're going to win this game.
Y'all are saying the same thing with different
Yes.
perspectives.
Yeah.
Exactly.
pretty
We're
good,
all.
yeah.
I think we're all on the same.
Yeah.
Yeah,
board
I
here.
also had A&M, and I mean, I had basically what all y'all said. I think it's similar teams in terms of their vibe, but just on different levels and stuff. I think that they're both good SEC defenses with inconsistent quarterback play, but what really sets them apart is the Texas A&M run game. And I know South Carolina's rushing defense is pretty good. I think Le'Veon Moss is incredible. I think he still can break free for a few. And then also, I think at the end of the day, I mean, Marcel Reed and is it Weigman? What?
Weigman.
Weigman.
I still don't know. All right,
Wagman.
Wagman.
Say it like I'm from the
Marcel Reed and Wagman. I think Lenore. I think
with the
that the Lenore Sellers is the third best quarterback in this game. I think, and so I think whoever they start, I think it'll still be better than both of them. And so, I mean, yeah, I don't think this game. How y'all felt about the Ohio State-Penn State game? That's how I feel about this game. I don't think it's gonna be that close. And I'm praying they lose because I love playing South Carolina with their 5 and 6 because we can take a bowl game from them, and they're gonna need to lose this game for that to happen.
Now, I want to pose you a question, Toby, because you mentioned that South Carolina's run defense is very good. What is the best O-line that they've faced?
Can you give me a moment to think while we hear from these two fine people?
Yes.
Yes.
I can start. These next two games that we're picking, they're teams that we picked last week. Both of them I picked wrong. I kind of operated on a prove-it system because last week it was LSU and A&M, and I was like, listen, you're both undefeated in SEC play. One of you's got to be better. Go and prove it. I picked wrong, so I'll take it on the chin this week. I think the Aggies are going to take it.
Yeah, every time that A&M comes up, I pick them. I don't think that are they still ranked number 1 in the SEC?
Yes.
I don't think they're number 1 in the SEC, obviously, but I do have a lot of faith in them. I think it pretty much comes down to who has the fewest turnovers. And I know you guys hate to play the chain game, but in week 1, LSU did beat South Carolina, so just saying.
I hate the chain game.
I know you guys hate the chain game.
Chain
but-
game is crap.
The Vanderbilt. We don't
Okay,
right.
no, don't. That doesn't count.
Right.
We beat Alabama. We beat Georgia.
You can't play the chain game. It does kind of help sometimes look at different matchups. Like if you have a lot of top 25 teams that have played each other, you can get trends from that. Teams play different styles, so it doesn't really work, and especially with upsets, you can't really base it off of that. But to answer your question, Old Dominion? Shout out to the Virginia schools. They've played good teams, but not good teams with good O-line.
Exactly, and that's where A&M is going to take over this game. They're not going to need to throw the football because their line is great and their rushing attack, there's a reason it's number 8 in the country with the teams that they've faced. So they're not going to need to throw the ball because they will be able to run it down the Carolina throat early.
I think Debo Williams is good enough that he's going to be disruptive no matter what offensive line you face.
He is good.
He's good.
I love
But
Williams.
still, they're going to find success against this defense, no doubt about it.
I'm glad I didn't complete a sweep. I do have South Carolina winning this game. I digress. Let's move on. We have an ACC matchup, a very, very important ACC matchup, as it is two of the only final teams in the ACC that are undefeated. So a spot in the ACC championship is on the line. Number 18, Pittsburgh, a huge win over Syracuse on the defensive side of the ball, forced 5 interceptions from Kyle McCord, 3 pick sixes. Meanwhile, SMU with a big win, able to sneak it out over Duke. So 2 teams on different kind of routes, I would say, in this game. But it's Pittsburgh going to Dallas to take on SMU. Who takes this? Who remains undefeated in the ACC?
No doubt about it. SMU. The game last week between Syracuse and Pittsburgh gave me more of a sense that SMU would win this game. Just because they created 5 turnovers, 5 interceptions, 3 for pick sixes. That's not the defense's doing, that's the quarterback. That is on Kyle McCord. Pittsburgh did not cause that to happen, and SMU is the best offense they have faced all year. They are a very three-dimensional offense. You have Kevin Jennings at quarterback, who's not a great passer. He can pass it, but his legs are where he finds success. He had over 100 yards against Louisville when they beat them. And then you have Brashard Smith, the running back, one of the better running backs in college football. He will go out there. He will pick you up yards. He averages 6.4 yards per carry. I just don't think Pitt's defense is going to be able to hang with the three-dimensional style that this offense can run between the running back, the quarterback's legs, and the quarterback's arm.
All right. So Pitt had 5 interceptions last week. SMU fumbled the ball 3 times and also had 3 picks. But I feel like it was kind of the exception that proves the rule for them because they still got through Duke with 6 turnovers. I don't know if they lost all 3 fumbles, but a lot of turnovers. Not a great turnover game. And so I'm taking SMU. I don't think this is that close either. I mean, they're favored by 6.5. I think they'll cover. And it's a high implied score, too. It's 33-26. So they're expecting a shootout. I think I agree with that. But honestly, what I want to talk about a little bit is if SMU, Clemson, and Miami all go undefeated in the conference.
They won't.
They won't?
They won't.
All right, well, if SMU, Clemson, and Miami all go undefeated in the conference, you go to the 5th tiebreaker of winning percentage of conference opponents. So I think just as a Clemson fan, I am cheering for Pitt in this game because we completely control our own destiny if they do. Because there's a world we run the table and miss the ACC championship if it goes SMU's way. But I don't think that's going to be right. I think SMU's got this game.
I'll break up the chain. Pitt proved me wrong big time last week. I think they'll prove me right this time. I think the amount of times you just keep doubting a team, eventually they'll get mad. And I mean, how much more can you doubt an undefeated team? I mean, cold weather going to warm weather, those teams don't always play super well, but I'm just feeling it.
Yeah, I think if Pitt wants to win, they have to slow down. Their defense has to slow down SMU. They have to keep Kevin Jennings in the pocket, confined, and I just don't think that they're going to do this at SMU. So I have SMU.
There is a bad, bad man running around Dallas, Texas right about now. He played Texas high school football. He brought a team their first state championship in like 45 years, I think it was. Shout out to the South Oak Cliff Golden Bears. Kevin Jennings, the quarterback for the Mustangs, is a bad, bad man. I would not want to play him. He is absolutely dangerous. He could throw the ball very well, with the exception of the Duke game this past week, and he is so dangerous as a runner. If I'm Clemson and I'm looking at who we could possibly be playing in the ACC championship, I would rather play Miami because SMU is dangerous. With this guy as quarterback, he is only a freshman. Let's keep that in mind. He is playing at a level that people did not expect. There's a reason SMU started Preston Stone this season and switched to him week 2 and have not regretted it. Stangs all day.
Take it away.
Myself, yeah.
I think it's a good game. I really think this game is going to be closer than people think, but I like your point, Jordan. Kevin Jennings has truly been kind of the difference maker, the dynamic difference maker for this team, and I'm excited to see how he's able to face a tougher team like Pittsburgh, a team that kind of has a little bit more of a chip on their shoulder trying to get to the ACC championship and run the table. But I digress. Moving on, we'll go very quickly to the NFL Pick'em just for this one game because I know we already talked about the Chicago Bears. They're 4-3. They're traveling to Arizona, who are 4-4. Big win over the Miami Dolphins. Their offense looked better. So for this game and for this game only, 3 words with your winner. Who wants to start?
Ha ha, Shane Waldron, go Cards. I'm very happy about it.
Elite rushing attack, Cardinals.
Linemen can't run, Cardinals.
I'll just say the Bears, please.
I can't do 3 words. Wait.
That was like 5.
I just think they
I
lost
can't
because
do
of the
3
Hail
words,
Mary.
wait.
That's it. No, that was more than 3, but
I know that was like.
okay.
I'll let you guys slow it down for this game because we kind of haven't really talked about these 2 teams either today. 2 other AFC North teams with the NFC North teams. The Detroit Lions 6-1. They're traveling to Lambeau Field. The 6-2 Green Bay Packers, who could be without Jordan Love for this game. He did go down at the end of their last win over the Jacksonville Jaguars. Malik Willis showed up. Matt LaFleur kind of likes to use Malik Willis in these sort of schemes, but it's a big NFC North matchup. Who takes it?
I don't think it's that big of a matchup. I mean, technically, when you look at the rankings, it is. But Detroit is the best team in the NFC, even without Aiden Hutchinson. No Jordan Love for the Packers means no hope. Give me the Lions all day.
You're confident, man.
I'm
All
very
your
confident.
All your picks.
I'm
you're
very
like,
confident
You're
this
like
week.
insulted by these picks.
I'm very
Like,
confident
I cannot
this week.
believe. Why even play the games? Like it's.
I mean, just like, yeah.
All right. You want me to go? All right, bet. I picked the Lions too. I mean, I think they're
Very confident. Let me agree with you.
No, yeah, I know. I completely agree, man. I mean, I will say the Packers, they're the youngest team in the NFL. We heard that a lot last year. They still are. They're improving so much. Jordan Love, I was watching some of his film from week 2 and from this last game. He's a different quarterback every other month. It's incredible. So shout out to the Packers. I think there are big things in the future. But I think the Lions, the big things are right now. I think they're the best regular season team in the NFL. And I say regular season, I'm a little scared of Jared Goff in the playoffs, but it's not the playoffs right now. We can just honor and love the Lions right now. They're the most aesthetically pleasing offense I think I've seen in my lifetime. It's a little bit of a weird comparison. I hope y'all can stick with it.
Boy.
It's not like a Helen Keller Babe Ruth comparison, but I think they remind me of the San Antonio Spurs with Tim Duncan. It's just a fundamental. It's just smooth and fluid with good fundamentals. This isn't touching all bases. I got y'all. But yeah, they're a fun team. And and just real quick fun stat last week, 86 passing yards and 52 points from the Lions. So they win in a lot of different ways, and it's fun. And they'll take care of business, absolutely. I'm confident about this game too. I can't lie.
Detroit, stand up, because Jared Goff is playing at an elite level. The amount of games he's started 10 for 10 or better is insane. You've got two elite running backs in Sonic and Knuckles, Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. You've got an amazing wide receiver core. It gets even better when Jameson Williams comes back from PEDs. And you've got a defense that has really only lost one major player and clearly seems to be doing okay. So Detroit, your time is now. You're going to win big on freaking Sunday. And it's finally time Detroit feels happy.
So Jordan Love gets hurt the first time, and they have so much distrust in Sean Clifford that they go and get a whole new backup quarterback. Please put Sean Clifford in. I just want to see that.
For someone who talks about how much they hate Penn State, you sure do talk about them a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like an ex you can't get rid of. You know, you're so salty about it. Just always bring like, I don't even care anymore. But like another thing.
It's just
Sean
like
Clifford, they don't even play him.
Detroit's just this offense isn't even fair.
Yeah.
I would argue it is the best team in football.
How would you argue, Cam?
I would say the exact same thing. I said Lions easy. I mean, you're right. Jared Goff starts the games amazingly. There are more passing touchdowns and incompletions over the last few weeks. And two Lions players that aren't even quarterbacks have both thrown touchdowns over that time period. I mean, when your backup quarterback is fourth in passing touchdowns on your team, that's kind of crazy. And just listen, the Lions, they play a bad team, they hang 50 on them. They play a good team, they put up 30 plus. I think they're going to kill the Packers.
Is every element of the Lions awesome too?
No.
Like they're so fun.
Their
Like they're
passing defense is kind of bad.
I mean more like the culture and like the
Oh,
likability.
yes.
Oh,
I mean,
yes.
like,
Yes.
The coach, their offense,
They do need a
their
pass rush.
story, like if someone's like, I hate the Lions and they're not like a rival, what would they say? Like, is there anything like hateable about the Lions? Their pass defense is poor. I think they're 28 EPA per play.
They're so much fun, and I'll root for them throughout the entire postseason because I know the Seahawks aren't going to make it that far.
Same way with the Falcons. Yeah.
But they're very good, and they will win this game handedly. They need to go pick up a pass rusher because when they didn't find a pass rush, that's when their defense, their secondary, has really struggled. And you saw Mason Rudolph pick them apart. You saw Mason Rudolph pick them apart. So they still have some work to do if they want to be a Super Bowl contender.
I meant more lovable than flawless, but yeah, I completely agree
That's
with you.
fair.
Dan Campbell's the most fun coach, and yeah, their offense is so fun.
I'm glad we're able to end this episode off with a nice clean sweep. I think the Lions are one of the most exciting teams to watch in the NFL, and I think that they're going to be really fun, especially this postseason. Anywho, that's going to do it for this episode of The Extra Point. Special thanks to all my panelists coming back on today. Everybody in the control room. There are so many people in there now, I can't even name that. But special thank you to Tigervision for getting this stuff going. But from all my panelists, from myself, I'm Griffin Barfield. I'll see you guys next week. See ya.